Okay, here we are. It's Brent from PathandTarot, and we're doing the Zachtronics Solitaire Collection Fortune's Foundation. We're going to play that. We're going to hang out for a bit, play some Solitaire, talk about stuff, maybe win. I don't know. It's pretty tough. I've only beat it a few times. Let's get into it. Yeah, I beat it 4 times. Um, I don't like that. Try it again. Try once more. Okay. The devil, right there. That's tough. So well, let's go over the rules, right? If you've seen this for the first time, learn the rules. Cards, you can stack them in increasing or decreasing order. One card can be moved at a time, and that's the trick. That's kind of the cool thing. So you got to keep everything in its own suit. Majors with the majors, of course, and then your suits, you got to keep them together. So it's not like like say Klondike Solitaire as an example. It's alternating suits all together. That's the challenge. So you got to move all the major cards up into the top section there. Put the rest of the cards there, right up to the king, and that's it. But the cool thing is that you can go in both directions on the major cards. That's interesting. That's another strategy. You can place one card above your stack of Minor Arcana Foundation, and you kind of get a free move, and you can undo a recent move as well. So those are the rules. There's a few gives in there, but it's a lot harder than you think. I've only beat it 4 times. Yeah, Zachtronics. What a great gaming studio that is. My goodness. Okay, well, let's just try and mess around, and you can experience this unique solitaire game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's 15, 14. This game really, it needs you to think very deeply about every single move. You can't just like start moving stuff around on a whim. You gotta like just look at everything and really think about the moves. But you know what? We'll just start moving stuff around. Just because I feel like it. Ooh, okay, we can do that. Shoot. Um... Yeah, I think I broke it like right away. Because I could have had that 15 go over top of the 14 there, and then I could have done that. Yeah, I screwed up. That's okay. Just start again. That's one of the cool lessons of Solitaire is just try again. Like unlimited tries. I like that as a life lesson. So here we go. Let's do this. We'll toss the king on over there so we can get the world up on the foundation, and try and make some other things happen. So what can we do? We can move the 8 over here. Yeah, that makes the most sense. And then I've got a 17, 16. Yeah, where's the 0? It's right there. So now it's not going to get to those anytime soon. What I could do is something like that, and then Yeah. Something like that, I guess. I don't know. I probably broke it. Yep. Um, that wasn't very helpful. Put the No, I went and gone ahead, broke it. Um, maybe, I don't know. Jack here. I broke it. The real key to this game is you need at least like 2 free slots to move things around, and that's when you do that, you get the you start to harness the power of the up and down, right? The ascending and descending mechanic. You need that to, make it work real well. So if you can clear up one spot, then can do pretty well. So, like, what's happening with PathandTarot? Things are steady, just trying to keep things on a steady flow of content. Making new stuff happen with like the Wild Unknown. That was fun. I enjoy that because I've had the Wild Unknown deck for a while now. It was one of my it was like one of the early decks that I got when I was getting into it. I think it was like my third deck, something like that. Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a great deck. Very inventive. Without experiencing that tarot deck, things kind of didn't really come together. Because the thing is with tarot is that it's like the tarot is like it's like any art form. It's got its own like subgenres within it. For me, I was a musician in a previous life. So there's lots of genres of music, right? So when you say I like music, to someone who is like say indoctrinated into music of all kinds, you think, well, what does that mean? Like what kind of music do you like? Like there's lots of different kinds of music, and so that's the way tarot is. Tarot is there's different kinds of tarot decks, different kind of systems that um, the artist can create because they're the artist. That's what that's what you're supposed to do, is come up with something artistic. And so the Wild Unknown is just that. It's like it's an artistic creation. It's very unique, and that helped me understand and break free from that. It's like an initial stigma of like one type of tarot deck, right? So it's for the musician that has to comprehend in music, you begin to understand that there's lots of different kinds of genres, subgenres, things like that. So it's pretty cool. It was a game changer, and then things just sort of fell into place from there. Well, if I do that, then there you go. I can do this. So 3 there, 6. See how hard it is? It's really hard. This is a very challenging solitaire game. Got the Fool there. This is really cool because like the design of the major arcana cards in this game are really unique. I've seen a lot of tarot decks, not as many as some, but enough to really be struck by the just the creativity that went into just the design, because they capture their meaning very well. If you know about the tarot and what each card means, it feels like, yeah, they captured it. And it's cool that they didn't break away from like the standard form of tarot. I'm talking about the game developers, the Zachtronics studio. They didn't kind of break away from the tarot's like system, right? They kept right to it. So that's really cool. But I think with a game like this, you kind of have to stay within, what's familiar of the tarot. Like, you don't want to change your major arcana around and things like that, because other tarot decks do that. That's a real thing, and that's what I was kind of alluding to moments ago, talking about like the Wild Unknown and stuff. The Wild Unknown stays pretty true to like the form of tarot and everything. It just has a unique artistic style. But other tarot decks have these like nuanced alterations, right? So that's where these like sort of subgenres of tarot deck come into play. And when you realize that, like, say, Waitesmith, because it's so popular, it's almost like, well, that's kind of like, you would think that all tarot decks are kind of like that, but they're not. And when you get to that level of understanding, it's just like, whoa, holy smokes, it's really cool. Because the tarot is kind of a tricky thing to get into. It feels like it's very closed off when you first get into it, because it's so mysterious, right? Because you feel like the deck holds your fate. I'm just gonna start again. And while that's kind of partially true and not true in a way, but that mysterious energy that the deck sort of has embedded in it, that you feel when you have it, it sort of locks you into this train of thought that, like, this first deck that I got, or this style of deck is like kind of the one and only thing. But it isn't. That's the really cool thing about the tarot, is that when you get to know the tarot and its nuance, you get to see all these other decks and read them and use them for the valuable tool that they are. The slight alterations are what can make like improve your reading, your tarot reading, and your ability to tell stories and connect with people. Yeah, like the Thoth deck, right? Crowley's Thoth deck is, it's sort of notorious in a way, but that's a great example of, like, things being changed up a bit with the major arcana cards. Do that, yeah, you can see. Just start again. There's another tarot deck that has a different, like the whole major arcana set is different. I'm trying to remember the name. It'll come to me. The deck is just like, it's down in a drawer right in front of me. Do that. This, there we go. So difficult. Oh my god. Do that, 17, and then... Yeah, that is broke. It's really tough. Like, you have to really think what each move is like really all about. Because here's, you go 6, 5, 4, but then that 10, you bury the 10, and so you can get stuck that way. So that it's like, 9, 8. Then you've got the 5 there as well. Uh, hmm. It's Tarot Etteilla. Etteilla. Yes, that's what it is. The Book of Thoth. Yeah, that's what it is. That's the one. Go look that up. I did an article, top 10 tarot decks. It's in there. That's one of my top 10 tarot decks because I like it. I like the changed major arcana. It's cool. And the neat thing is that that particular deck, it's like a what do you call it? It's like a recreation basically. But that the design of the deck is like, it's very old, so it like predates the Waite Smith image. So when you start to really dig into the tarot history, you can realize that Tarot decks have had different forms for a long time, so it's really neat. You know, that's kind of what happens when you start to learn the history of your art that you are investigating. So, you know, for me in music, once you start doing music history and start to learn like the classical stuff, going farther back even before that, and then farther ahead, back, you know, all that, you go all over the place. You start to get this like really broad, powerful perspective of music, and start to really appreciate it. And that's how the tarot is, I think, too. It's a very deep art form. I guess I can do that. I don't think I can make anything happen. Cause like you have to really sit. I remember when I've beat this 4 times, but I'm trying to beat this. I remember playing this in between like writing essays and stuff for school, and just ping-ponging back and forth after periods of time. So like I'll write for 15 minutes or something, come back to this, think about it, and then it like refreshes your mind. You kind of get a different perspective. So like the more you look at this, the more you get stuck and not being able to figure out what to do. But when you take breaks, even if they're like short intervals, then you can see things better. And that's kind of a cool thing to recognize too, with like how like your attention span works and that sort of thing. I find that like having to write text, whether it's like an essay or like just write something for the blog or something for PathandTarot, that you know, I'll write in a very focused way for a period of time, but then I have to like stop and then do something else. And so using Solitaire as that something else for a short period, of course, I think is nice, because you have to change your way of thinking outside of like doing an essay or like writing or trying to articulate your thoughts or something. You have to like, kind of immediately think differently, and that sort of switch is like, you know, it's useful. It's got a purpose. It's like, you know, throwing cold water on your face basically, and you're like, whoa, here I am. So that's what it kind of does when you use Solitaire in that way, combined with other types of work like writing work. I think it's the best for it. And if you do that, you can like write. You can like you can stay on task, focus on that thing for a very long period of time. Like throughout the whole day, you can basically jump back and forth between like 2 tasks like that, and you end up getting a lot of work done. So if your primary focus is to like write an essay or something like that, which is what I'm doing now, so it really helps. Just kind of jump back and forth every once in a while. Just make sure you're spending not too long on the task that is aiding the primary task. You have to recognize that. So like you wouldn't want to spend too long playing Solitaire. You just a few minutes, and then you go back to writing, and you just keep doing that. It's weird, but it works. You think it would be counterintuitive, because you're like, you know, almost, well, you're not really multitasking. You're just changing the task. It's like serial. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. So the 6 and the 5. Here we go. So two, I could have done, yeah, I don't know. Um, oh, there we go. Well, what if I did 7? Okay. So where's 14's up here? Bring the 4 down. No, it doesn't do. 3, 2, and then a jack. 10. I'm just going to try it. Whew. Oh my god. Where does that leave me now? Like, holy smokes. That just fried my brain to even come up with that. I just ate a lot of ribs too, so I'm kind of sluggish. So this is a good highlight of the techniques you want to apply. You know, the ups and downs. I think that's kind of a cool thing because it really recognizes the cyclical nature of like the tarot, especially the majors, because like it's just like one big cycle, right? So you can like go forward and backward, and it all makes sense because it's just one story, like one arc that just goes in a circle to infinity. Once you end up at the world or like the universe, it goes right back to the Fool. And once you recognize that, then tarot reading becomes a lot easier because you can just remember kind of that cycle, and then the major arcana just kind of points out where you are in that cycle, and then you can apply that information to like the rest of the cards that you're working with. And if you treat the pips, the number cards, right, the minor arcana, as cycles as well, individual cycles, then again you can apply the same concept of the majors to the number cards, right, dealing with that cyclical structure. And then you realize that you've got 5 cycles inside of the tarot, right, the majors in each of the suits. And then all you got to do is separate the court cards from each of those cycles. The court cards are people, right? That's the human representation in the tarot. It's you, the layers of yourself or other people involved in the tarot. And then you can kind of separate the aces if you want. The aces can be a part of the 1 to 10 cycle, but the aces can be special as ways of recognizing the like introduction, the beginning of those numbered cycles. So really, when you break the tarot down into those sections, it becomes a lot easier to read and work with. Because I know when I first started reading the tarot, it was very overwhelming, like to kind of try to grasp that system and try to get a good message out of the cards. It can be quite challenging. But when you separate it like that, it makes a lot more sense, and it gives you a lot more fluidity to read the cards, because you just kind of know where you always know where you're at in the cycle of each of the sections of the tarot, right? Like you get a major card, okay, well, which one is it? Oh, it's the Devil. So like, you know, you're more to the end of that cycle than you are at the beginning, right? You're 15 out of 21. So you're kind of at the part of the game where you're having to overcome challenges of like deep-seated ego, you know, possible temptations around you, dealing with your dark side, if you want to look at it that way. Like wrestling with the fragility of like the human condition. Like we're fragile things. As resilient as we are, we're quite susceptible to our own self-sabotage. The devil, right? temptations, that sort of thing. So that's like way down the road in your quest, right? When you compare it to the magician, who's kind of just starting out, like getting your tools ready, right? Becoming skillful, understanding the elements. So there's quite a gap between those two characters, or energy sets, archetypes, maybe if you want to call it that, in that journey. So when you start to know that, it's like, okay, well, that's, there's a way to go between the two. But if you chop up these cycles, knowing that you understand that it's a cycle, then you can start to chop them up and kind of skip, fast forward, 1 to 15 and so on. You can just kind of tape it together and then make this patchwork cycle. You can start to think that way, and it may be valuable. So if you've got, say, the magician, the devil, and say justice, if we line it up like that, well, then we start, okay, well, that's the beginning. We're near the end of the first cycle, but then now we've entered a new cycle, but we've jumped ahead a whole bunch to get to the section of justice. So you can think like that. You can start to count the cycles within your major cards that have come out in your card spread. So you can sort of use that if it sort of helps elevate your reading or give it a higher definition. Try to grasp how many cycles you're going through, where you're ending and starting. Because if you were to look at it that way, then you can kind of determine, well, hey, like a lot of stuff is going to happen between the magician and this justice, right? Because you're going magician, devil, justice. So devil, it's assumed that you're going to complete 16, 17, to the world, go back again, start the magician, but like your level 2 magician, right? Your second cycle magician, new game plus magician, right? So you've gone through that whole process of mastery. You've started again. You're the fool once again. You get to be the magician a second time. Start something new for the second time. So this justice card has an even greater weight associated to its justice, being able to weigh the odds of things. And that's kind of an interesting message in itself, is that justice, when it appears in its second cycle, that it's had to weigh the things out from the first iteration, right? The first kind of passage through the hero's journey. Because the hero's journey is really what the major arcana tells the story of. And so that's another reason why the Waite-Smith structure, or even like the Tarot de Marseille, which is like an older version, that structure of the major arcana cards, that's what's been sort of solidified. And tarot reading, it's now become sort of standard. It's part of, like, you can call it canon as well if you want it. It's part of like the canon of tarot. It's popular. And that's why the Waite-Smith deck is so good. Like the hero's journey is well encapsulated, and it's a powerful literary tool. But it's also a powerful divinatory tool. You can use it in fortune telling, as we're doing. But that's where like the prompting comes in, right? Like these cards and their meanings are so universal in a way that you can't not get a message out of the cards. I think that's about it, because I'm stuck. We've talked about a lot of cool things, rambled on about stuff about the tarot, so I think that was kind of valuable. There's some stuff you could pull out of that, some tarot decks you can check out, the all kinds of Thoth, Crowley's Thoth deck, and then the Etteilla tarot, which is called the Book of Thoth. Those two tarot decks are really cool. They sort of elevated my understanding of tarot and what it could be and what it is. Check it all out. Hey, you know what? I'll even leave a link to the top 10 tarot decks there, so you can check those out, because that's pretty cool, right? To have a list of tarot decks recommended by a tarot reader. You know, it's like a top 10 albums kind of thing from a musician, right? Those are cool to check out. All right, so I'm gonna log off here, folks, and I'll see you in the next video. We'll find some fortunes.